Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ English. We are looking at an important case study when it comes to celebrating the success of biodiversity restoration operation. And yes, we are focusing on the Gulf of Mannar area. What has happened? Quite an important topic for UPSC GS paper 3. So today a decade-long artificial reef restoration of the one island has generated socio-ecological benefit worth rupees 61.61 crore, that is over twice its inflation adjusted cost. Why? Because one is one of the main 21 islands in the Gulf of Mannar region. It is a small uninhabited island in the Bay of Bengal, about 8 kilometers away from the village of Thoothukudi in Tamil Nadu. Now, if you remember, just about few months before, we had spoken about the Greater Flamingo Sanctuary in India. And I was telling you how it is the Sambar Lake of Rajasthan and then the other village known as the Dhanushkodi village in the same region in the Gulf of Mannar where you have flamingo conservation programs, especially in Dhanushkodi by the name of Greater Flamingo Sanctuary. Yes, we are looking at the same area and how even dying islands, dying biodiversities can be protected with human action. That's the case study. That's the agenda for the video. Now, a beautiful biodiverse area that you can see in the image. We are looking at one island. What has happened in the Gulf of Mannar near the state of Tamil Nadu? The island of One, a small uninhabited rocky island, was shrinking. It was getting devastated because of coal mining, erosion and sea level rise. Now, the standard battle between environmental loss versus infrastructural expansion is not a new one. You not only study this in GS paper 3, but also we study this in ethics GS paper 4. Now, just for an example, look at the Great Nicobar Island. India says that we need to have some patrolling near the Strait of Malacca, strategic choke point between Indonesia and Malaysia, which China depends on. India also needs to improve its footprint in the larger Indo-Pacific region. We know that. After all, initiatives like Sagar, Mahasagar, all are based on the same thing. But today, as we create the major township and the transshipment port in the Great Nicobar Island, we are at the same time also removing more than 13,000 hectares of forest. We are threatening the very unique biodiversity of the area, such as the sea animals called dugongs, such as the olive-ridley turtle, the leatherback turtle and many more such species. At the same time, there are local tribals like PVTGs, Champagnes Nicobari, who are also worried about displacement. You see, environment protocols are hardly ever adhered to whenever we look at infrastructural expansion, and it is anthropogenic causes like mining. Now, as we are saying mining, naturally in your mind you must be thinking about the Aravali controversy as well. You see, that's what happens whenever you have mining, whenever you have too much bottom trawling in the coastal areas, construction in the coastal regulation zone. You see, these things are very common. Erosion, coastal erosion, sea level rise. Now, if you look at the loss in terms of data, then in this one island here in Gulf of Mannar, there was a loss of 92% area as compared to 1969 and 2015, and that's a major loss. So scientists have said that let us do something innovative. And also, if you remember, countries of UAE and Oman have also been in the news in the past when it comes to creating man-made artificial coral reefs so that more fish and more marine ecosystem can be created around that. So that's what has happened here. Scientists did an experiment. They created 10,600 artificial coral reef-like structures around the island to not only reduce the force of high tide waves, to prevent coastal erosion and to trap sand here. See, the more concrete inhabitation you create for sea animals, for flora and fauna, for various kind of plants, including say mangroves, the better your coasts are protected. And today there is a result. The result is commendable. It is due to this artificial reefing that we are seeing that island size has gone up from 1.53 hectare in 2015 to more than 2.3 hectare, showing that coastal loss is indeed reversible. Now, if you remember, in 2025, I had also spoken to you about a report from IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. What did that report say? Yes, the same body that creates the red list of endangered, vulnerable species of plants and animals. Now, IUCN said that in India, there are three habitats, there are three biodiversity hotspots that need urgent intervention. These are the Trans-Himalaya, these are the Western Ghats and the Sundarban. So you remember Sundarban, Bhitarkanika, we often talk about mangrove importance to protect the coastal areas. When we spoke about the Thwaites Glacier, Doomsday Glacier, we were worried about the submergence of coastal regions, and one island case study is a perfect example of how human innovation can also protect island areas. Now, if you look at the ecological benefits of this step, there are so many. For example, artificial reefs have helped the coral revive again. 81 coral colonies have been created, which is amazing. At the same time, fish population increased by 8 times, improving marine biodiversity, improving the food chain of the area. Then 26 native plant species were also specially protected and marine habitats were improved. So you see, coral reefs also are a very big marker of the strength of marine ecosystem. And you know that corals are under threat across the world. When you talk about coral bleaching, it is often a result of high temperature or bottom trawling. Now, bottom trawling, mechanized trawlers have been in the news in a very big way in August 2025 as Sri Lankan fishermen were blaming Indian counterparts for conducting mechanical trawling in the Kacha Thivu island. Never forget about the Kacha Thivu dispute, and do tell me in the comment box then, typically, officially, under whose exclusive economic zone under UNCLOS is Kacha Thivu situated? Yes, so it also reminds us of that. Now, are there any economic benefits? Of course. Apart from ecological economic benefits I just spoke about, more than 61 crore rupees were saved. This is when the project was only 26.37 crore rupees. So you see the total advantage of protecting biodiversity. Plus, if you look at the major benefits which are much more important than material benefits, coastal protection of the mainland against sea storm, against high tides, coastal submergence can be prevented. Then better fishery and ecosystem. So when you enable fisheries, you know that you are also providing livelihood of the local communities in a big way. And now here on the map, you can have a look at the Gulf of Mannar region. Do give a special attention to the Park Bay area. You must also know that it was the Gulf of Mannar, the same region which also became Asia's first marine biosphere reserve back in 1986. That's a very important thing to remember for the exam. Now, totally the Gulf of Mannar is a shallow bay in the Laccadive Sea. You can see the location here, very near Sri Lanka and India boundary, and it stretches between southeast coast of Tamil Nadu. Yes, what is the coast name as? What do we call this coast? Do we call this Malabar? Do we call this Konkan? Or do we call this Coromandel coast? So from here to the Sri Lanka, the northwest Sri Lanka, that's where this area is located. Yes, of course, you must remember Southeast Asia's first marine biosphere reserve was also this area, known for its flamingo preservation programs as well. Okay, so now if you look at some other unique flora and fauna of the area, let's also remember that the Gulf of Mannar typically has about 21 islands, one of which is the one island that we spoke about. And then, as I said, not just the first biosphere reserve, but it was back in 1982 that it was made as a marine national park under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Yes, it hosts not just coral reefs, but also mangroves. Very important. Mangroves are the line of defense against coastal erosion. Then seagrass, mudflats, sandy shores, rocky coast. At the same time, it also supports 117 coral species, about 450 fish species, and then threatened species like the sea cow, dugong. I just told you, even when we are looking at the Great Nicobar Island, one of the species that might be threatened because of the massive infrastructure that we are making is the dugong population. You have the whale sharks and the sea turtles. So all these are the important biodiversity elements of this area. So do keep at the back of your mind the whole region, one island. You can use it up as a case study in mains answer writing too. Now quickly a practice question here. Consider the following statements regarding restoration of one island in the Gulf of Mannar. 1. The artificial reef modules were developed mainly to increase tourism and recreational activities around the island. Second, the restoration led to an increase in island area by establishing sediment and reducing wave energy. And 3, the benefit cost ratio is greater than 1 here. That means economic benefit of the project are exceeding the total investment into it. A very easy question. You want to confirm the answer, you want to know more about this topic or any other topic, feel free to join our Telegram community. You can scan this QR code. A growing community of UPSC aspirants, and do remember at StudyIQ right now, it's a great opportunity for you to ensure your success by enrolling in UPSC 27 and 2028 courses. The batches are just beginning and the price is unbelievable. It begins at 12,999, and if you use my code, that is SPLIVE, SPLIVE, you get further discount on 50% off already. But the 50% off is a limited period offer because it's a part of our power place sale. So before the offer is over, enroll today. Take a guarantee of success at a price that's unbelievably humble. Thank you so much.